Welcome to the Classic Car Enthusiast. I predominantly want to go over this English wheel with you, and I'm a complete amateur on this English wheel. I've never used one, so it's a learning curve for me, so hopefully you can come along with my experiences and of how to get used to it, some of the tips and techniques and so on. The YouTube is a brilliant thing for this. There's so many tutorials on English wheels from Ron Coville. I have a few of his DVDs. He's a fabrication metalwork guy in America. He does some brilliant stuff, old school, but he has all the shrinker stretchers and English wheels, all kinds of stuff. But he has some great techniques. Anyway, yesterday I mentioned about this this earth probe. And I don't know why, it was so obvious, it was staring me in the face. After I said yesterday about using a washer, either a circular washer or whatever, this is actually a washer from the bonnet on an E-Type. So I just happened to pick that one up. It'll do the job. And basically it was so simple, I can't believe I didn't think about it. Basically what you do is weld the washer, or spot weld it to the whatever you want, whatever part you want on the car, and then you use this to put the copper wire. So in fact what happens is this slot here is where you put this over and then put this one over the top of that, and then you use that hook to pull it up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spot weld it on here. So I'll put it on and I'll show you. Basically all I need to do is just attach the earth to it just to get the spot. So I'll put it on now, and I've already preset it up. In fact it's, yeah. So I've preset it up. What I'll do is I'll just put that, I don't know if that's going to hold very well in there. I'll keep that earth away from it. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just stick the earth on there like that, and I can maybe, hang on a second, excuse me for this, just try and get this to, alright. Okay. And then I'll come back on the other side, and then what I can do is I can attach this. If this was on the car, I could attach this like this a little bit. I'll put it up the other way so you can see it. So that's now welded on. So I can put that in. You imagine this is on the car, of course. I'm doing this for example. So then I can put that in there. This is going to show, and then take this and hook it into that hole there. Oh, hang on. Get it right in a minute. I'll put that into the hook, and then let this, oh, it's quite awkward, and then put that on there like that, and pull on that. Now this is going to require now a longer, some kind of space on it because the thread isn't long enough. But that's the idea behind it anyway, is that I can nut it down there, and that'll all stay. I'll bring it out of the vise and show you. So basically that's what would happen. It would go against, the copper would go against whatever the metal is you're doing. That would tighten up. Obviously that thread's too short. I have to put a spacer in it, but that's what would happen. So that's how the earth works. I should have thought about it. I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, the other thing is that work I was doing yesterday, where I was using the dent puller in the vise. I mean, that's not a very practical demonstration, because what's happening, the metal's only held on one side and there's four sides that is not fixed to a car. So obviously as I was pulling on it, the whole thing was moving like this, so it wasn't a fair representation. Obviously on a car you're pulling out a dent that's held in place on all four sides, so you're pulling a bigger panel and so on. So anyway, to take you onto the English wheel, so you can see here I've set it up. I've tried to do a couple of things. I'll just bring this thing back over. Excuse me a second for this, not very prepared very well. But there's the, okay, so there's the, well, I'll bring this down a little bit. I think that's probably better. Okay, here. So, or maybe further back. So, the thing with this is you've got, as I say on this English wheel, you've got this mechanism which allows you to take the metal out quickly when you're rolling it through. So if you've got a piece of metal and you've been rolling it and you want to take it out, so if you have it up like that, you can see I can use the wheel at the bottom so I can run it through and then tighten it as I want to. But instead of keep pulling it out like that, if it was a bit tighter, I could just basically lift that and just take it out, or put something in that had a bump in it, for instance. But the nice thing about this is I can turn this. So to take the roller out, it's basically just lift it out. It's just on a groove there, and then you just replace it with one of the other type rollers. Simple as that. So, and they've obviously got different bits on them. So if you want to, for instance, you've got something that's deeper than that width of that throat, basically all you do is just pick that up, take the roller out, pick that up, turn it, and slot it down the other way. And then for this one, you just undo this. And the whole thing comes down on a thread. You can see it's got a big weld here, so you just turn it side on and pull it back up. And then just lock it off. Okay, and that's it. So now you can roll something this way, possibly with two people, as long as you want it, which is a nice, great idea. And this foot one, and it's at the right height too. Instead of standing up here doing it, you're doing it down lower, and you can see on it. So, a couple of things I wanted to show you on it. As I say, I'm a complete beginner and novice with this, but apparently I've been looking on YouTube, and there are a few little things you can do. For instance, if you've got a panel, for instance, that's got, say, a body line in it where it comes up and then it's got a taper in it, you can do that with this by, it's quite a nice neat little trick, is you basically take the roller, and what you do is, I don't know if I can do this with one hand, you basically lift that up. Let me just take it out there. I can do this with one hand, sorry. You can put a little nut in, say something like that for instance, and then put your roller back in, and you can see now, you have to push it underneath the axle, of course. Something better than that, make a piece of metal up, whatever. And then as you lift that, you can see that that would go at a slight angle. You can see there where it's touching on an angle. That way you could run a body line through it. So you could actually make it, if you didn't have a bead tool like I've got, or it needed to be too much of an angle. So it's a way of cheating. I mean, this is an exaggeration, but you can see how easy you could do that. So it's just a little trick there you can do that with. You'd obviously make something up that was the right height. This top wheel, the thing with English wheeling that I've learned, well, I've been looking at her for years and watching tutorials, is why I wanted one for ages, is that they stretch in every direction, so they're for compound curves. But another little trick I saw on Eastwood is if you get a wheel, sorry, I'll go on the other side, a wheelbarrow inner tube, and you put it over this top wheel, the main wheel, instead of the lower one, on this main wheel, something that's like rubber. This is just for show, but something like that. What will happen is you'll get the curve this way, but you won't get it going that way because the rubber stops it from doing that. So something like an inner tube is perfect, as long as it stretches over the wheel, and then you can just leave it up here when you're not using it, and then pop it down when you don't. It's a great little idea, clever trick. Anyway, so there we are. It's as I say, it's not much of a tutorial, but I'm completely learning this myself as I go. So, but I'll show you what I'm doing.